Hey y'all, how's it going? So today's project is going to be a rolling base for my Packout system. And some of y'all might be thinking, why in the world wouldn't you just buy Milwaukee's Packout rolling base? And there's a few reasons for that. The reason that I'm not doing that is I load my Packout in my truck when I go places, and the rolling base just doesn't work well with that. You got to take everything apart, put it up in pieces, pull it back down, put it all back together. I wanted something that I could keep stacked and easily load into the truck, but also I wanted to be able to roll it around just like the dolly does. Packout makes the hand truck that everything clips into that I looked at, and I thought that that might be something I want to do, but I don't think that's going to be easy to pull up into the back of the truck. And then, the dolly by itself doesn't work well on uneven surfaces or rougher ground or, outside or anything like that. So today's video comes inspired by Spencer over at, I believe his channel's name is Insider Carpentry. I had been searching around for what I wanted to do with this. Was looking online at different options and kind of racking my brain to kind of come up with a design. And during that process, I came across his video, and I really liked what he did. So we're going to kind of model that a little bit, although we're going to do just a little bit different than what he did. But I'll put a link to that video somewhere around here, and you can check that out if you would like to. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a base for the Packout that will use these casters here, so we can roll it around when we're working on a smooth surface, either inside, on concrete, whatever, but also something that will be able to be moved around with the hand truck. And so the issue that I have with this hand truck is this one does not pull up into my truck easily either, because I can slide it up the edge of the tailgate, but once it gets to the wheels, you can see there's no rail for this to guide up into the bed, and so the wheels wind up getting tucked up underneath the tailgate, and they try to close the tailgate while I'm trying to pull it up. So I'm also going to be building some slide rails that we're going to mount here and down on the axle here, that'll give us a nice smooth transition to not only slide it on, but also that'll give it a good transition into the bed. So in his video, he used Milwaukee makes a hand truck that has built-in rails on it. The only thing I don't like about it are, number one, it would require me to buy a new hand truck. I already have one, so I didn't really want to spend the money on that. And number two, it's a plastic hand truck. I mean, it's made out of poly, so it's strong. They say it's got a 400 pound weight capacity, but I have this one, and I don't like the fact that the Milwaukee one is plastic. So I'm going to be building those rails, and we'll cover them with some material so that it'll slide easily without damaging anything. But I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I've got a 1/2 inch piece of poplar here. So what we're going to do is we'll use the Milwaukee mount. So this is, your floor and or wall mount. So we'll set this over here. I'll trace it out, cut it out. We're going to make 2 of those so that we've got a top and a bottom, and then we'll put some supports in between. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that by tracing this out. Okay, so I screwed up one thing. I completely forgot that I needed to leave the back edge of this flat. I cut out the contour of this plate, and I think it's going to work out okay, but it would completely depend on what hand truck you have, because the back side is obviously where you're going to be pulling that hand truck or putting the hand truck into it and lifting this up. So I think mine is going to be okay, because it should be able to fit into here pretty well. You know, it's not going to fit perfectly when it goes back. You know, there may be some rocking here, so I may have to figure out something with that. I really hate that I did that because I don't want to do this again. But just be aware of that if you make your own. Leave one edge flat. Don't do the mistake that I did. So the next thing that we need to do is make some spacers. So what this is going to do is we're going to basically have a gap here, a small gap that we can slide our Handtruck blade into. And then so what we need to do is just get some spacers to put on the sides here. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. All right, y'all, so I've devised a plan that I hope is going to work well for me to solve the problem of having this thing angled on the back. So these are my spacer plates. So what I've done is I've made these spacers wide enough that I can get the Handtruck blade in there, but narrow enough that it doesn't have a lot of play. So it should be pretty easy to get in there because I've got, you know, a little bit of space on both sides. But if this tries to slide, since, you know, we've got the curve on here, so if this tries to slide this way, it's not going to be able to go very far because all this stuff is going to be screwed together, and that blade will wind up contacting this once it moves just a little bit. So I think this is going to solve our problem. If not, then I'll figure out something else to add a little bit more secure way of keeping it from moving, but I think this is going to work well for us. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and mark the contour out on these and cut that out. All right, y'all, so the next thing we're gonna do is just tack these spacers into place so they don't move while I'm working on it. And then once I get done with that, I'm gonna paint just a little bit in here with some black spray paint. I'm gonna paint this whole thing black when I'm done with it so that it kind of matches the that base plate. But the inside doesn't have to be all painted. I just want the gap, you know, maybe, you know, a couple inches in so that when you see this from the end, you don't see this bare wood on the inside. So I've got some 1-inch crown staples that I'm going to use. This is 1/2-inch material, so I'm going to angle my staple gun just a little bit just to make sure that they don't penetrate all the way through. I was hoping I had some 3/4-inch fasteners, but I don't, so we'll just do with what we've got. Let's get there, get there. So we'll just a little bit. Perfect. Good. All right, so that'll hold these in place. And then this, when we get done with it, we'll just be able to easily slide right in there. So I was thinking if I put this just a little bit farther back, if I make sure that this bar right here lines up with the back side of this, and then I put my front plate where that's going to sit, then that should help with the sliding and rocking and stuff. It shouldn't shift at all. It should use that blade of this Handtruck to level everything. I guess I'll go ahead and spray both sides. Good. All right. So we're about 6 5/16 to 6 3/8. Use this. This will give me a little bit more accurate measurement here. Yeah, just over 6 5/16. So I think if we set our support, our cross brace in here at 6 5/16, that should work nicely. Because it'll let that, like I said, it'll let that blade sit right up against it, and that should help some with the, it'll, even if it slides a little back and forth, at least it won't dip down like this into these sections. It'll keep it kind of in front of that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So we'll set this here. Set the back side of my cross brace right there, just under 14.5. Thankfully, we've got a piece right here. Okay. Okay, so I got the spacer in there. Sorry y'all didn't see that, the camera cut out. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a few screws in this, and then once I get done with the screws, we'll paint everything and then put the casters on and we'll be done. So I'm just gonna use some 1¼ inch screws. These are 1/2 inch pieces of plywood, so they'll get all the way through and just barely into the last piece down there. I am going to countersink them a little bit so that they're not in the way, but I think what I'm going to do first is set this panel on here, because what I don't want to do is wind up having anything in the way of this. So I don't want to get any of my screws where these mounting points need to be. So we'll just kind of go through here and put some of these. I'm going to try and put them where they'll be hidden a little bit. So we'll do one here. Go right here. Here. And here. And then here. Nope, not there. Up here. There. There. And right about there. Okay. So all of those will be hidden. And then we'll put one here. One here. That should be pretty good. So I'm just going to countersink them a good little bit, and that'll help get them into this bottom section a little bit more. What, baby? I see. So there apparently must have misjudged something here on where that was. Let's see here. So that should have been right there. Somehow, unless this is the back side. Might have had this on that side. Yep. There it is. So let's see, hopefully this fits that way. So it seems that I have put this together backwards, because this mounting bracket is not exactly the same on both sides. I was intending for this to be the back side, but as you can see how this locks, this is the front side, and my plate for my hand truck is on this side, I believe. Yep. So I guess we're gonna have to take this apart and move that to the other side. All right, y'all, so I had to flip this thing around a couple different times. One thing I will say, make sure when you trace these pieces out that you mark them as to which side is the top, the bottom, front, back, all that, because this panel is not exactly the same. It looks like it's the same, but it's not quite exactly the same on the front and back. So if you notice, this fits well. If you spin it around this way, it actually overhangs here. So if I even it up on this back side, you can see there's a little bit of a lip there, there's a lip here. So it has to go a specific way. And when I put my cross brace in there, if you're doing this and you have your flat part on the back, if you do it correctly the first time, you won't have this problem because it'll only line up one way. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's so pretty. You want me to blow it?
Yeah.
Here you go. Thank you. So if you leave the back flat and only contour the front, then you won't have this problem. But since I screwed it up, I wound up with a little bit of issue. So I lost track of which one was which, and so when I was putting my cross brace in, since I'm doing it based on the plate on the hand truck, I had it in the wrong spot. So if you're doing this the correct way and you get this flat, I would put your cross brace in the middle. You got me another blowing flower?
Yeah.
You want me to blow this one too?
Yeah.
Or you want me to keep it like this?
Maybe like that.
Keep it like this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep it right here. Can I keep it right here?
Yeah.
All right. So just be mindful of that. I do kind of like the way this looks, having it contoured to everything. So if you like that, then you can do it that way. Just make sure that you keep track of what's what. So now that I have this done this way, this is the back side. So, stupid gnat is right in my eyeball. This should fit perfectly in there, and it does. It should keep it, you know, from sliding side to side. What I was concerned about was If this slid all the way in, then this contour would be up against this bar, and I was worried that it was going to slide back or side to side. This way, if it slides at all, it'll run into that support, but it won't allow it to slide back this way at all because I've got that brace at the front of that plate. All right, so now that we've got that done, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and screw everything together, and then once I'm done with that, I'll sand all this down, which I'll probably hit it with a little bit of 320. And I'm going to hit the edges just to make sure they're nice and flush with each other, and then like I said, we're going to do the round over bit. So got a little bit more work to do, so let's get going with that. All right, y'all, so I've got my casters here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to place these where I can always get to the lock, no matter if it's on this side or out in front or kind of off to the corner. So I think we're going to place them right there, plus that'll keep them out of the way of my hand truck, no matter where it is. Okay, I'm going to throw that one over here. Here you go. You want it?
No.
Okay, y'all, we got this thing painted on both sides, so now we can mount the mounting plate onto it and then put the casters on. So I'm going to use these same lag screws that I'm going to use for the casters. I'm going to use the same ones for this, so I'm not going to have enough for everything. I'm going to go ahead and get the mounting plate put on, and then I'll have to get some more of these for the casters. But what I'm going to do is set this on here. I'm going to get this thing lined up. I'm going to clamp it in place, and then I'm going to drill holes, and we'll get these put in. The center mounting points, I'm going to have to use bushings because these are 1.5 inch lag screws. And so because we have this gap here, if I don't use a spacer, it's going to go all the way through. And on the front, that's not really a big deal because there's nothing there. On the back, though, we're going to have to be able to get our hand truck blade in there. And so if we don't have, if this is protruding all the way down in there, then that's going to cause a problem. So we'll set those spacers in there. Just gonna check and see. Just barely punched through, but that'll be okay. So let's go ahead and get these casters on there, and this thing will be finished up. All right, so there it is. It's finished up. I think it looks really good. Hopefully that's just an issue with the tabletop and not something going on with the wheels. One of these wheels is a little bit different color, so I'm gonna have to check that on a known flat surface. This may be warped a little bit, and make sure that that's not a problem. This wheel over here is a little different color, so it might be a little bit taller than the others for some reason. But I'll check that out and make sure everything works good. But yeah, I'm happy. So I'm gonna get my Packout set and load it up on here and see if maybe that takes care of any of this wobble. And I'll see you guys in just a minute. Okay, y'all, so here it is. First thing I noticed is the wheels are kind of garbage. So I'm gonna have to get different wheels. Those do not pivot very well. So when you're rolling it and you're trying to spin it a little bit, they don't pivot well at all. So I'll probably get the ones in the video that I linked earlier. I was trying to just do this all today, so I picked up casters at Northern Tool, and they seemed like they would be good They seemed like they worked fine and all that when they were just kind of unloaded, but with the weight on them, they don't seem to work well. But everything else seems to work pretty nicely. I really like the look of the base. It's sleek, it matches. The paint color is pretty dang close to what the base is. I got a matte finish, so it would match pretty well, and I think it does. So I'm gonna see how the Handtruck works. I may have to take, you know, these top couple boxes off when I'm loading it up and stuff like that, but we'll see. But first thing I'm gonna do is just give it a shot and see how it does with the Handtruck just the way it is. All right, let's see if we can pick this thing up, or not pick it up, but roll it backwards. So that works. I do kind of wish that I had gotten the back of this flat, but I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, honestly. Everything works fine. There's enough play in between the top and bottom plate that this can rest up against it, so I think it'll be just fine. It wheels around really easily. So getting it into this truck may be a little more challenging. It's definitely going to be heavy once I get all the tools that I want in it, but overall I think this is going to be a good option. It gives me two different options for getting it over, you know, more rough terrain with the Handtruck, smooth terrain with the casters, and I should still be able to load at least 3 of these boxes at one time into the truck once I get the Handtruck fitted out with the slides that I'm going to make. I don't have time to do that tonight, so we'll do that probably tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll just see you guys then.